Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Citywide Blackout, your home for music, movies, and more. I'm your host, Max Bowen. And I am very excited because once again, I get to be joined by former Citywide co-host Jeff Royds for his brand new musical project, Burnt Endz, and the debut album, Soundtrack to the Apocalypse. This album has more of an EDM rock feel, and I had no idea that Jeff was such a huge fan of this kind of music. So we do a deep dive into his love of the style and all the things he had to learn and relearn to make this album happen. And this thing, of course, being Jeff, is a great zombie story. Basically, it's aliens invade, enact a zombie apocalypse to kill all the humans so they can take over the planet. Honestly, this is pure Jeff Royds, and I think it is a great story. So kick back, relax, and enjoy. The man, the myth, the legend, former Citywide co-host, Jeff Royds, with a brand new music project, and it's definitely something new. Burnt Endz. Jeff, welcome back to the show, man. It is so cool to have you here.
Max, great to see you, buddy. How you been?
I have been living the dream, sir. How about yourself?
Good. I'm going good. I'm happy with what's going on right now. So
that's great, man. So you know what, dude? Let us dive right into it. So this new project, a bit left of what you normally do. Like you're best known for your former band, Bullethead. So I'm curious, what kind of led you to pursue this for your new project?
This is where I started.
Really?
I've been doing music since I was 12 years old, and I'm originally a keyboard player. That's what I first started playing. I didn't pick up the guitar or really start singing or doing, what Bullethead was until I was in my 30s, late 20s, early 30s. So I always liked new age music, Vangelis, Jan Hammer, all those guys back in the, synthwave, the style of Blade Runner soundtrack and things like that. I always liked that kind of music. And growing up as a child in the 80s, you get, you had synthwave, you had new wave, or synthwave was new wave back then because it wasn't synthwave then, but a lot of synthesizers. So I grew up on this kind of music, and this is the stuff that I've always wanted to do. I have some old music that I'm probably going to re-record to put on the next Burnt Endz album, and Bullethead was done. Last time we talked, I did the director's cut of the We Are Bullethead album, Bullethead's Greatest Hits Volume 2 album. I wanted to put that to rest. I'm done singing in that way. I'm not doing acoustic music out in bars anymore. I kind of retired at the perfect time during COVID when that hit. It was kind of not a forced retirement, but I stopped playing a little bit, and then COVID hit, and I went, you know what? I don't miss this. I don't miss being out at bars till 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't miss dealing with drunks, telling me that I suck, or telling me that they want me to play this, or, chasing down a bar owner saying, well, 3 people showed up, so we're only going to pay you half the money. It's like, well, if only 4 people show up in your restaurant, do you pay the cooks half the money? No. So it's like, I'm not getting any younger. I'm 48 years old now, and I wanted to do something different. I wanted to go back to where I was. And when I finished the Bullethead album, I was really getting into electronic music, and what kind of spurred it on was 2018. Mary and I had gone to Halloween Horror Nights down at Universal Studios in Orlando. And we're walking around in the scare zones, which is like the area between the haunted houses you're walking around. And I heard this music that I really liked. It was keyboards. It was dark. It was kind of horror related. And I had her stop in the middle of it. And I'm like, I want to hear this. I want to know what this is, because I really like this. So I went on iTunes, on Apple Music, and I looked up playlists, Halloween Horror Nights, 29 playlist, and it came up. So I started following some of these artists, and on the compilations that they had was Carpenter Burnt and Perturber and Daniel Deluxe and Dan Terminus and a bunch of other electronic artists. And I started listening to it. I'm like, I really like this. I want to do this. The next album I do, if I start doing any kind of music again, I want to do this kind of music. So when I was wrapping up the director's cut of the We Are Bullethead album, which is still out everywhere on Amazon and on YouTube and iHeartRadio, so still go buy that, still go listen to it. But I was more getting into electronic keyboards. I ordered a trigger keyboard for my computer, was on Logic, and just playing around with some of the the built-in sounds. So what I did was, for the final track, I did what I call the movie trailer cut of Can't Stop the Pain, which is very different from what Can't Stop the Pain is with hard rock and guitars and things like that. I kind of made it ominous when you hear a soundtrack or you see a commercial for a movie and they play a song that's a rock song, but it's more movie cinematic. I made Can't Stop the Pain like that. And I was like, this is really cool. I like doing this. I was happy playing music again, and I really like doing it. So I wanted to do something more with that. So I started futzing around with some of the sounds. And the first song I wrote was The Sky Is on Fire. Originally, it was called Pork Chop Express. I was going to start doing an album based off of all other movies. You know, Pork Chop Express is from Kurt Russell's, the John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China. So with Kurt Russell. So that's originally what it's called. And I didn't know whether I wanted to do it as doing music based on movies, based on something, whatever, but it was a clean slate. I didn't have to write for the masses. I didn't have to write for what people are going to enjoy. We're going to play this in a club. Is someone going to like it? I was always worried about that with Bullethead. When I would write a song and I'd bring it to the band, and they'd be like, I don't know if people are going to like this. I'd be like, all right, it's crap. Let's scrap it. With this, it's me in my basement studio recording. And I like it, and it put a smile on my face. And even Mary said to me, she's like, you seem much happier doing this. I'm like, I am. It's fun. It was a return to home is what it felt like, because it was bringing me back to my childhood, back to my youth when I first started playing music on keyboards. And I would write stuff like this, and people around me would be like, you know, were you going to play this in a bar? What is this? I'm like, well, no, because I'm 15. I'm not going to go play in a bar. There's no place I can do it. But it was fun to do. And now I have, you know, the recording skills and the mixing skills and the mastering skills that I can do all this myself and not have to worry about any other outside influence on it. I put it out. People like it. They like it. I'm not in clubs playing it. It's out there on the social medias. It's out on every streaming platform that there is to go and buy or listen to or stream or download or do whatever it is that you want to do with it. And I'm happy. I'm happy doing music again. And I wasn't for a long time, because I felt like I was recording music for other people and not for myself.
I think
that was very long-winded. That was basically everything. Thank you, Max. Good night.
No, we're not done yet.
Not at all.
Exactly. No. But I think the key thing in that discussion was, I'm happy again. That's a big deal, because I can remember when we would talk about Bullethead, you just seemed drained. Like you seemed like you were doing it like obviously Bullethead was definitely a passion project for a number of years, but I could tell you were drained. I could tell you were done with it. You wanted to put it to bed. It was a chapter of your life that you were ready to close. And now this thing is out, Burnt Endz, and it really does. I really do see what Mary saw, that life back in you, that joy and happiness of doing music. So this genre of music, you mentioned earlier that you were more of like a rock guy for a number of years. Did you keep on the style that is Burnt Endz? Did you listen to other artists?
When I was doing Bullethead, no, because I was more into the local music scene. If that does answer your question.
Yeah.
Because when I was doing Boston garage bands and NEGB1 and support local music, it was all about local independent artists. Stuff that we had on Citywide Blackout when we were in EMF, things like that. I never really listened to commercial music. I always listened to independent music, local artists, because I wanted to get to know them so they could get to know Bullethead. And so Burnt Endz wasn't even a thought. I didn't even think of the name. I wasn't playing keyboards. I didn't even have a keyboard back then when I was doing all that. I had sold it. So, because I wasn't doing it. I'm like, this is a waste of time, a waste of money, and you're moving from place to place. I'm like, these things are freaking heavy. So I don't want to do it no more. So no, I wasn't even considering doing it. It wasn't until the pandemic hit, everything kind of shut down. I was still working, but, Mary and I bought the house maybe a month before the pandemic hit. And we built, the bar and the gym and the studio and everything like that down to the basement. It's like, I want to start recording again. And that's where it came out of was, we couldn't go out at night. We couldn't go out to dinner and we couldn't go hang out and do other stuff. So I would come home for an hour or two after work every day, and I would just come downstairs and I would sit down in front of my keyboard and I would write and I would play. And that's how I wrote. Each song was just futzing around on the keyboard, playing around with different sounds and say, this sounds cool. I could work this into a song. Or there were some nights, I'd go 3 or 4 nights in a row and there would be nothing. So, but it worked out.
Yeah. And I really, really dig the sound because it definitely has like slow but powerful, like I guess I would probably describe it as kind of a fusion between like rock and like EDM style music. It doesn't have that speed that you see with some stuff like Daft Punk, for example.
Yeah,
it's slower, it's powerful, it's pulsing. My question.
Well, that's what I was going for.
Yeah,
because I wanted to kind of bring in my rock side of things by not having all electronic drums in there. I wanted some acoustic sounding drums with some of the songs. I wanted some electric guitar in with some of the songs. I wanted to kind of work it all in. And actually, the electric guitars done by John Tyler, I keep calling him Taylor, was awesome, and he added so much to what I wanted. Because when I wrote those 2 songs, the "Let the Invasion Begin" and "Now Let's Go Kill Some Motherfucking Zombies," I wanted it to be. I had guitar in it, so when I wrote those, I put a blank space at the end of them specifically to hear it in my head with electric guitar. And I'm like, all right, I can either do a synth electric guitar or I can try to find a guitarist to do it. And I got to know John from the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast that I listen to. He's a fan of the show and he listens to it and we all interact with each other. So I threw it out there and I said, hey, we got a lot of people in this group. Does anybody play electric guitar? And, I got a project that I'm doing and I need 2 songs recorded. And he DM'd me and said, what do you got? And he's a radio guy from out west, the Midwest, and he does a lot of recordings. And I gave it to him. And within a week, he had both songs done. And I was like, blown away because I contacted another friend back in February. I had sent him the songs and said, hey, you're interested in doing this with me? He's like, yeah, absolutely. And then 3 months later, I'm like, well, I need it by May 1st. I wanted to release the album June 1st on my birthday. I wanted it to be done in the bag and finished. And he strung me along for about 3 months. And then finally he got back to me and said, I really don't hear anything that I like that sounds good. I'm not happy with it. I'm like, dude, you've had 3 months. What are you doing? So that's when I kind of panicked and I reached out to John and he came up with it and he did it. And it was awesome. I was so happy with what he did. And I think there was a reason why the other guitarists didn't do it, because we were waiting for John to finish it and do it. So it was great. It was great. I had a blast. And John was awesome, and he's a really cool guy. Very happy with working with him. So it was great. I loved it.
Excellent. Now, knowing you, I know that you dive into everything full force. Mm-hmm. Exactly. When you were involved with local music, you were all about 24/7. And I imagine for this, you probably dove into the whole style of music that Burnt Endz is a part of. Are there other artists that you found yourself a big fan of?
Oh, huge. That's all I listen to. Like I said at the beginning when I was talking about it, it's Carpenter Burnt, Daniel Deluxe, Spaceman 1981, Street Cleaner, all bands you listen to and you're like, well, these guys, and you listen to it and you're like, I like this so much. And that's all I listened to. I didn't listen to the radio. I didn't listen to anything. I didn't listen to Van Halen, no Foo Fighters, no rock, no Pearl Jam. None of the stuff that I used to listen to all the time in my car. It was kind of like a rebirth for music for me because I got to know a different type of music that I didn't know existed. It's not big in the States. It's huge over in Europe, and a lot of people think it's EDM and it's hip hop and things like that. And it's a little different because there's no lyrics to most of it. It's very darker, and I wanted it to be darker, and I wanted to write music like that. I always wanted to do a soundtrack to a movie. That was my big thing. And I did a small independent film back in the late 90s, early 2000s that a friend of mine had done called "Girl Take It Easy," and I wrote the main song for the band called "That's the Way It Is." It was about a ska band in Boston, and I wrote that song, and he wrote the lyrics. So I kind of I had a movie credit underneath me, and then he went on a couple years later and did a short film for the 6-minute film festival that Boston used to have. So he put me in the movie, and I wrote the music for it. So I'm like, all right, I'm doing kind of soundtrack work a little bit. It's fun. I've never done a full movie score. And when I was a kid, I had movie scores galore. I had cassette tapes. I had albums. I remember going into Harvard Square one night into Second Coming Records when they were still around in bootleg record stores, and record stores were actually popular. And I bought Nightmare on Elm Street 3, 4, and 5 soundtrack on cassette, and Halloween 4. And I put them up on the thing, and the guy's like, "Oh, romantic night at home, huh?" And I was a kid. I was like 17, 18 years old or whatever. But to me, that was fun. I loved hearing instrumental music that goes along with the movie, because when you listen to a soundtrack, you hear in your head what part of the movie it is. And I hate when soundtracks don't go in chronological order with the movie. That drives me insane. And it's actually funny because my youngest daughter loves soundtracks. She loves listening. She's 9, and Titanic is her favorite movie right now. And she listens to the Titanic soundtrack all the time. And she loves Godzilla and Jaws. And she listens to those soundtracks, and she can tell you without knowing what song it is, like the label of it, what the song is and what part of the movie it's from, just by memory. So we'll be listening to the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and I don't remember this in the movie. It's like, "Oh, Dad, this is when the dinosaur comes down from the top and he's." I'm like, "You're 6. How do you know this?" So she's 9 now. She's like a soundtrack freak. She loves it. Any movie she watches, she wants the soundtrack for it. So she downloads it on her iPad, because that's all you can do nowadays. When we were kids, we're like, we have to go to the record store and try to find this. And hopefully it's on cassette or it's on vinyl or we can get it. So I kind of passed that gene on to my youngest daughter, which is great. So I always wanted to do a soundtrack. So when I was writing this, it originally started just writing one song. And I was like, all right, how would I hear this song? And I kind of heard when I wrote The Sky Is on Fire, which was then the Pork Chop Express, like I said, I heard a John Carpenter-esque type of theme to it, where John Carpenter would score his own movies. And I hear the big 18-wheeler and Jack Burton going, "In a dark and stormy night, listen to the old Pork Chop Express, my friends." And Jack Burton, I'm like, I can see this in that movie. You can kind of cut it in with that opening scene. And that's how I wrote the song. And some of the stuff, I would watch a movie and kind of write a song to it. And as it started coming along, I was like, well, this sounds more dark and ominous. This sounds like zombies. And I'm big into zombies. Me and my oldest daughter, we love zombie movies. Halloween Horror Nights is a huge thing. We go down there every year, and I wanted to write something dark. So I started writing. As I'm hearing the songs in my head, I'm thinking about it. I'm imagining what would it be. And then, zombies are taking over and they're eating brains and they're doing all this. And then one song came up and I was like, this kind of sounds sci-fi. Sounds kind of out there, like it's has an alien theme. So I was like, all right, what is this about aliens? Well, let's do a cross alien zombie hybrid type of album. So I came up in my head this whole thing where, I'm going to write this. This is going to be about aliens invading the Earth. They've been watching us for years, studying our every move and all that stuff. And they know what can harm us, what we're afraid of. And we're afraid of zombies. All our TV shows and movies are all zombies. Walking Dead is huge. Zombie movies are huge. Zombie books are huge. I'm a big fan of Mark Tufo with his Zombie Fallout series. So I was kind of listening to that, all his audiobooks while writing. So I'm like, all right, so what part of the movie would this be? So the aliens can't come into Earth's atmosphere because if you watch War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise, what kills the aliens at the end, according to Morgan Freeman, was bacteria and viruses. So the aliens can't come into our atmosphere, so they have to raise an army of the dead. They have to raise zombies to kill humanity, to enslave humans, round them all up, so the aliens can take them back up to their spaceships and process them for food and fuel and just total world domination, because aliens are bastards and that's what they want to do. So, and I always say when people like are angry on Facebook and people are being dicks about this, and I'm like, you know what? It doesn't matter what your religious beliefs are. It doesn't matter who you voted for. It doesn't matter this, doesn't matter that. When the aliens take over, they're going to wipe out everybody just the same. So who cares? You know, zombies don't discriminate when they're eating people. They don't care, you know, whether you got a MAGA hat on or you're a Democrat or what. They're going to eat you just the same. It doesn't matter. We're all the same. We're all humans. We're all earthlings. We're all part of one planet. So that's how the concept of the album evolve. So I'll just be sitting there in my own head, and Mary's like, Penny, for your thoughts. It's like, you look deep in thought. I'm like, oh, I'm thinking about how the aliens would invade the Earth and how they could not get in there, and they have to raise the zombies, and they have to do this, and I go into this whole big thing, and I'm like, are you happy that you asked what was in my head at this point? But that's how it came about. So I would be up at night thinking about it, and I'd be at work thinking about it, I'd just be eating dinner thinking about it. So I really, like you said, I put my heart, soul, and 100% into this. And like anything that I do, if I'm going to do it, it's go big or go home. So I was very, very happy how it came out and how it evolved. And I hope other people like it too.
I'm sure they will. I could definitely see this being a film soundtrack, because I'm also a huge like soundtrack nerd. And for me, it was back in the days of CDs, the Mortal Kombat soundtrack. I listened to that thing endlessly.
The Immortals, I love it.
I Mortal Kombat, some of my most favorite songs are on that soundtrack. Godzilla, yep. Shitty movie, great soundtrack. So I could definitely see soundtrack to the Apocalypse being paired with like a movie someday. Now you mentioned that you were like all about this, thinking about it like all the time. Do you have the whole movie like in your head at this point?
Oh yeah, each song on the album is a different part of the movie. So while I'm writing it and while I'm playing it, and actually when I was listening back to it, when I was mastering it, I'm hearing in my head, okay, this is when they're doing this, and this is part of this, and this goes with this, and okay, what would come after this? So each song goes in chronological order, from the aliens arriving onto Earth, raising the zombie army, fighting, taking humans, the humans fight back, and then there's the end credits, which is the last song on the album. And it was funny when I was writing it, Arizona, my youngest, she's big into hidden endings now, because she's a Marvel generation kid where everything has an ending, an extra ending at the end. So when I told her what I was writing, she asked, is it going to have an extra ending at the end? And I went, it's a soundtrack, but in my head, I'm thinking, well, if it was for a movie, would it have it? So the last little bit of the end credits song, I hear in my head, and I see visually something that happens that could be part of the extra, the end credits scene, so to speak. So, I knew it that meticulously on the album with the song, with the movie in my mind, what's going to happen. So there probably will be a soundtrack to the Apocalypse 2.
I look forward to that.
Songs from or songs inspired by soundtrack to the Apocalypse, because you see that all the time with soundtracks. It's like songs inspired by. It's like, well, this song came out in 1952. How is it inspired by? But they just wanted to capitalize on the album and make more. And there's more music in my head of this genre, so I'm very happy with it. And there's probably going to be more of that, and there's going to be more horror type of music. I want to get a song. Ultimate goal when I started writing all of this is I wanted to get a song in a scare zone at Halloween Horror Nights down in Orlando. And I know it's I've talked to a couple of people that are involved in HHN, And they've like, oh yeah, this is a great song. I like it. I don't know who to talk to. Things are up in turmoil. So I don't know whether it's the whole, hey kid, get out of here. You're bothering me. Go ask your mother kind of thing. But the guy that runs the group that I'm a part of, the Universal group, he was starting a Halloween Horror Nights podcast called Rush of Fear. And it's all about, what leads up to the show and stuff like that. So I'm like, hey, do you know anybody there? Because you got it. And then you know a lot of people. So I played him the song. It used to be What an Excellent Day for an Exorcism. It was based on the Exorcist movie kind of thing. And he heard it. He's like, dude, this is fortuitous that you just messaged me this because I want this to be the theme song to the podcast. And I went, yes, let's do it. So I tweaked a few things. I added, the podcast is called Rush of Fear. So I added What a Rush of Fear in the beginning of it. And then it kind of kicks into something that it's the song that I wanted to have played in a scare zone. They played at the beginning and at the end of the show, but I'm hoping that, still someday to be in Horror Nights, because that would be great. That's kind of every musician has a dream of what to be a part of. And that's mine. But being on a podcast devoted to Horror Nights is just as friggin' good. And a lot of people hear it, and a lot of people like it, and a lot of people have downloaded it and streamed it and things like that. So I'm happy either way. So I got one single and an entire album.
And dude, I have absolutely loved the album. Of course, I'm also a big aliens and zombies fan. The Walking Dead. I actually was reading the comic before the show even came out. So, but I definitely love that whole genre.
Awesome.
Bit of a side question for you. Do you feel like the genre still has some, pardon the term, life left in it?
Yes, zombies will always have life, I think. They've been out since, Romero did them back in the 50s or 60s with, Night of the Living Dead. And they go away and they come back. I know a lot of people, are so sick of Walking Dead, and then, Fear the Walking Dead. And then they're going to have a spin-off show once The Walking Dead is done. But people always love zombies. And it's one of those things that if they evolve over time, and people write zombie stories that change the evolution of zombies. They're not just, brains walking slow and eating people. Like with the Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, it changed, it evolved. And now you have thinking zombies, and you have fast running zombies, and you have, zombies that can communicate. And like in the Mark Tufo series, the zombie Fallout, zombies are now can telepathically communicate with each other and with humans and things like that. So I think people are always going to be fascinated with what scares them. And what scares them is something rising up out of the ground that can eat them. And I mean, that would scare the hell out of me.
Except I think you'd be ready for it.
I would be like, can I write you music as you're walking down the street?
And I also imagine you must have at least 5 or 6 plans in your head for what to do if it ever happens. You're ready for this shit.
No, I'm absolutely not ready for this. I have 0 weapons. I don't even own a baseball bat, Max.
Wow, that surprises me, actually.
No, I'd be standing at the Walmart, running up and down the aisles, trying to find anything that was left. I am so not prepared. I don't even have a pile stock of water in my house. No canned goods, no nothing.
Jeff, I will roll up in my customized monster truck and pick you guys up, all right?
No, thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Oh, my God, man. I'm curious, how did it feel to finally release this, given the passion and the work that went into this, and the fact that it was very not new territory, but new from you from a musical production standpoint?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nervous, but awesome. I wanted to release it on June 1st, which was my birthday. But the last week in May, we were going to a trip to Las Vegas and the Grand Canyon. And I said, I can't be on vacation worrying about the album that week. So I released it early. When you put things out on digital, it takes time for it to get into the stores. It takes time for iTunes to approve it, for Spotify, things like that. So before we left, I uploaded it, got everything all done. So it took a couple of days to for it to be distributed. And when I was on vacation, I could relax. I could enjoy it. I wasn't worried about the release and, oh, is this done? Is this done? Is this done? Is this done? Can I get that? Can I get this? Can I get this? I'd be happy with it. So it felt great. And then I kind of put it to the side, and, I listen to it every day because I'm a huge narcissist. But in my head, I'm thinking, okay, what else can I do? What's next? I haven't started writing anything yet. There's some ideas in my head and on my voice memos on my phone and things like that. But I was very happy when it came out. And I think it's a great album. I think to date, it's the best thing I've ever written over all the stuff. It's definitely different. It's newer. And I think it's the next, it's me evolving into a different person. And as an artist and as a musician, as a father, as a grandfather, as a boyfriend, all of that, being a better person, being a newer person, and kind of coming out of my shell and evolving. Because if we don't evolve as musicians, you just continue to play the same old crap. It gets boring. I didn't want to continue to do Bullethead all the time because we were playing the same things. Nothing inspired me to write new music. So I knew it was time to just say, I'm done. I'm not, a 65-year-old guy that can just come back out and go, we're going to do a hits tour. That's not me. I'm not like that. I'm not a cover band guy. I don't want to do the same thing over and over. I want to evolve as a person, as a musician. And that helps me evolve as an individual. So that's what I wanted to do with this. And that's what I think this did for me.
Okay. Did you find that you had to learn or relearn a lot of things when making the album?
Yeah, I did. I haven't played keyboards in years. I haven't literally sat down and played anything for a long ass time. And it was weird when I'm trying to play fast. My hand couldn't play as fast as it used to when I was a kid. And I'm like, okay, am I getting old? Is it not muscle memory gone? How does this work? What's this chord? It took me a little longer to pick things up. But as it came back to me, I remembered why I fell in love with playing keyboards and piano to begin with. There's more creativity. There's more availability to create a sound that you didn't think was possible in doing it. And it felt great.
So cool, man. One thing I saw on the Instagram page for Burnt Endz music was a visual. I believe it was like you with like a gas mask on and like your hood pulled up. And I thought that mask. So Dilly folks, check out his Instagram. The visuals are so cool. I saw that and I thought that's gonna be his image. That's gonna be his persona for when he goes on tour of Europe. Because
when you see the artists, they're all dressed like that. It's like kind of futuristic and sci-fi. And I mean, this is a workout mask that I bought when the pandemic hit. I wore that to work because I was delivering dialysis supplies for home patients, and we needed to wear face masks. I couldn't wear the N95s. We couldn't breathe in them. We're bringing stuff up and down stairs and 1,400 pounds into a person's home. Like, I need a mask that I can breathe in. So I went online and I found this one and I bought it. And this one has different sleeves that you can wear on it. The original one I had Spider-Man on it. So I'd be going into people's homes with this big mask on my face with Spider-Man. And then I found a Darth Vader one and been wearing that. So I thought, this would kind of be cool to when I was looking up all these other artists, seeing what they were doing, and they're posting on their Instagram pages. They all got this and that with the lighting and the fluorescent and all this crazy crap. I mean, yeah, those would kind of look cool and futuristic and different and kind of synth wave and electronic. So yeah, why not? I already have it. I don't have to go invest in anything. This is literally what I wore to work. So like you get punk artists that wear their gas station t-shirts on stage or their shirts because that's what they wore to work because they worked in gas stations. This is what I used to wear to work. I mean, minus the Batman helmet and the Karate Kid thing and the Spider-Man mask underneath it. But I wore the training mask with goggles and hat and gloves and everything. So
and it does have like a very like apocalyptic look to it too. Like if there was a legitimate like end of the world thing, that is the kind of gear that like most folks wear. They wear some kind of gas mask or face mask, because the idea is that everything's all like polluted or toxic. Good apocalypse look for you.
Yeah, so I mean, technically I am kind of prepared for the apocalypse because I have the outfit.
There you go. You're partially prepared.
I'll look good while I'm getting eaten. I just won't be able to do anything else. But I'd be like, damn, that look cool.
Well,
so now I just get shotguns and bats and swords and everything else.
Well, make sure you go live as they're eating you, so at least you can get like one last stream out there.
Absolutely. I will live stream everything. So.
Exactly. Do you think it's possible that you might tour again? Do you think you might hit the road and do some shows if that became an option?
Probably not. I have tinnitus from decades of really loud music in my ears. So it doesn't hurt. It hasn't hurt for a while. And when we went out to Vegas, we went out to a bar. We wanted to go see a drag show. And we went to a small little club in Vegas, and they had the music so fucking loud. Nothing was happening yet. The show hadn't even started, but it was a club. But they had the speakers all around, and literally while we're eating food, the music was so loud, like my head started to hurt, and I started to get like inner ear issues and dizzy. I'm like, we have to go. I can't stay here anymore. I'm literally like, my head was ready to split open. It felt like it was going to hurt, and my ears rang for 2 days after that. So I never wore earplugs when I played on stage because I'd always play guitar and sang, and I had to be able to hear it. With earplugs, I couldn't hear what I was playing on guitar while singing and doing that. So I always had the monitors like really loud in your face. And I understand how a lot of musicians can wear those in-ear monitors. And I know a lot of them, you see them, they end up taking them out while they're playing, or you see them on live performances, and it damaged my hearing. So playing live, I don't see me going into a club or a bar doing anything like this. Never say never. But that's not the goal of it. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go, I can't go up to Uncle Eddie's in Salisbury with my keyboard and my computer and play this to people, That's just not the way it is. It's like I said, it's huge over in Europe. It's in all the clubs in Europe. But when you see European DJs, it's just they have the laptop in front of them and they're all going like this to the crowd. I'm like, you're not playing. You're playing your song. I don't get it, but maybe that's just because I'm a dumb American and I don't have a clue. If I go see a band live or a performance live, I want to see that music live. I don't want to hear backing tracks. I don't want to hear, synthesizers or sequencers or anything like that. I want it to all be 100% live. And that's one thing, one of the big things that I had with Bullethead was, if we're going to play this live, I want to have enough guys in the band to play each instrument out on a stage, because you go see a live band for that. We went and saw Queen 2 summers ago with Adam Lambert before everything hit, and they played everything live. Everything was 100% live. There was no secret, with the exception of the Bohemian Rhapsody, a cappella, operatic part in the middle. Everything else was live. It's like, good for them. And then I would go see a band with my daughter, my oldest daughter, when would take her up to concerts before she was 21. I'm like, half of this shit is recorded. I get it. You're a new band. It's you want to sound like your album, and the teeny boppers that were there didn't give a crap at all. But me up in the stands as a, seasoned musician or somebody that does it, I'm like, okay, I could have stayed home and listened to your album. It sounds exactly the same. You're playing the album while you're pantomiming the instruments. So what's the point? So, short answer, long, probably not.
I would love, though, if you got the chance to actually play in Europe. If some band called you and said, "Hey, dude, we heard your album. We love it. We'd love you to open for us or be a part of our tour." And you know what? If it's just like hitting like the play button on the laptop and then just like doing this the entire time, hey, it's easy. At least it's easy.
I call it doing the Paris Hilton.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's all she did. She just went like that.
Yeah, it's
like I said, never say never. If they want to pay me to do it, I can't afford to finance my own tour or anything like that.
Yeah,
but I'll need a road partner, so you can come with me.
I am so down for that, sir. I will be in full like zombie makeup. I will be on stage. I will do a show for everyone. I am always down for that kind of stuff.
Awesome.
So
all right, we got to plan now.
Awesome. We got to plan. Now we just need someone to discover you.
Exactly.
What's next for you? Now that this album is out there, it's been out there for a few weeks now. What's next for Jeff?
I'll probably start writing another album, writing more music, being a good person. I don't know.
That's all you can do, man.
Working, being a responsible person. Yeah, not living off of the government, and going back to work. Pandemic's over. Get out there and just doing my thing. Probably going to, we got some vacations coming up, going down to Horror Nights in September again. So that's what we love to do. Enjoy time with my granddaughter, with my daughters, with Mary, go do stuff and just, I'm always writing. I'm always writing music in my head. I always hear stuff. My voice memos on my phone has about 185, just little guitar tracks or vocal tracks or just something to me going, boop, 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 boop. When I'm saying it, it sounds awesome and I hear the whole thing in my head. When I go back and listen to it 3 days, 4 months, 3 years later, I'm like, what is this? How did I think that this was good? I don't even know what was I thinking? Was I drunk? So a lot of it gets deleted, but I'm always writing. As a musician, you always write. And as a creator, and once you stop writing, once you stop doing stuff, that's when you fade out and you die. And I don't want to do that. I want to write music until I'm, in my 90s, 100s. I want to be the world's oldest kid, sitting there at my keyboard, just on my floor, just doing it because that's what I love doing. It's what makes me happy. What makes me smile. And that's what the world needs. People need to do something that make them smile and make them happy. And Burnt Endz right now makes me happy. I love playing this style of music. I love playing keyboards because it makes me feel that same joy and exhilaration and pride in myself as when I was a 12-year-old kid that was, not the smartest kid in school and was put in the special ed class back in the day. And my 7th grade music teacher took out a video camera while I was playing piano. I was playing Jump and Home Sweet Home on the piano. He took out a video camera and he stuck it in front of me and I was playing. And he videoed it and he showed it to all of his other music classes. And kids around school were like, hey, I saw you in Mr. May's class. You were playing Jump and you were playing Journey. You were playing Van Halen. That's awesome. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting a positive attention for something good doing music, not for being a jackass. This is what I want to do with my life, whether it's being a professional musician. I tried it for years. It didn't quite pan out the way it was, but everything comes full circle to where I am now. If I hadn't done all that before, I wouldn't be here now. And this is where I want to be. I'm happy and I enjoy being happy and I want to continue to do things that make me happy. And hopefully through the music, somebody else is happy about it. And hopefully when the zombies rise and the aliens invade, while people are out there with their machetes and their guns, they'll pop in. Now let's go kill some motherfucking zombies. And while they're doing it, So the big thing I wanted to try to get Samuel L. Jackson to say that line in the movie, because that's how I heard it in my head, was just Sam Jackson going, now let's go kill some motherfucking zombies. And that's how that one came about. That's how I titled it. So.
Oh my God, that's perfect, dude. Okay. Oh man. Oh, because I didn't ask it before, I've got to ask it now. Best zombie movie or book?
Ooh, well, favorite zombie book right now is Zombie Fallout. He's on book 16 right now that's coming out this month, so I'm excited to get that. Mark Tufo, check him out. He's great. Tell him Jeff sent you. Favorite zombie movie? I'm not sure. There are a lot of good ones. The one that I think I'd watch the most, I think, is World War Z. I really like it because it's a far cry from the book. I loved the book when it came out. I love the narration. I love the audiobook version of it. If you haven't heard it, definitely listen to it as well, because Max Brooks is the son of Mel Brooks, world famous director and writer, gets all of his dad's famous friends to do each part. It's so cool. But the movie itself was just creative. It was fun. I think Brad Pitt did an awesome job, and I think the director did awesome with it. And I like the fast zombies that kind of have the rabies type of I Am Legend type of thing in their head. While they're doing it, they're not just, shuffling around like, it's not our grandfather's zombies. They're newer zombies. And they're scary as hell.
Yeah, I love that movie. I also have the book and the audiobook. When they announced, hey, we're making a movie, I thought the book's a collection of the interviews. That's gonna be kind of a boring movie. But then I watched it, I was like, oh shit, this is really, really good. And yeah, I love the scenes where they have like the flood of zombies. That was like, we're running
over each other. They get, climb up a wall, the wall in Israel that Israel built. They're all climbing up each other, and they don't care. They just want to get at you and tear you apart. And it's awesome. Yeah. I loved it.
And that one scene where they climb over the wall is like that because that one person had to sing on the damn microphone. Yep. Music, you killed us.
So I stopped singing. I don't want to be responsible.
Very, very conscientious of you, Jeff. Very much so.
Thank you. You're welcome, world.
Exactly. You haven't killed us.
We're all saved.
Well done.
We won't come and eat everybody.
Well, Jeff, man, as always, this has been a lot of fun. I'm totally loving the new album, Soundtrack to the Apocalypse. You get it on all your various streaming services. And where do folks go to follow you?
Instagram. Right now, I'm on Instagram. Burnt Endz Music, BURNTENDZ Music. Music spelled the regular way, just on Instagram. I don't want to be flooded all over the place with 5 billion social media things. I can't keep up with it. There's just way too many. If you can do it in one place, why do you have to do it in 40 different ones? I don't have a TikTok. I don't have a Facebook. I don't have I think I'm on Twitter, but I think I just changed my Jeff Royds one over to Twitter. But I don't even have the Twitter app on my phone right now, so I don't post anything on that. But yeah, that's all it is. Just up on Instagram. I try to post something at least once a day to stay relevant.
Cool, man. Cool. Well,
but yeah, definitely the album's out. Go check it out. Burnt Endz, Soundtrack to the Apocalypse, and the theme song for the Rush of Fear podcast. They're out there. The more people that download it, the more people that stream it, the more people that buy it would be great. I know buying music is a novel idea now. Like, who buys music anymore? I still do. I still try, if there's an artist that I like a local artist, I'll still buy their music. Just even though I can stream it for free off of my Apple Music subscription, I'll physically buy their album. So just to support them. So still supporting local music, so to speak, just in a different medium. So just Burnt Endz, ends with the Z, ENDZ. And that would be great. I appreciate it. And thank you so much. Thank you, Max, for having me on, man. You got the world exclusive. You're the only interview that I'm doing. You're the only press that I'm doing. So it's if this hits big, it's all because of you. So thank you, my friend.
Woo! Hey, hey, man.
Roadhouse, bring back Beth, Dave DeLuca, and Matt Zapp as a poser.
That's right. All right. Well, Jeff, we are going to be bringing this one to a close. That's your cue.
No!
Never gets old.
Go back and listen to the old Citywide Blackout, people. You'll know what we're doing.
Exactly. Well, Jeff, thank you once again, man. This has been too much fun, and we'll be doing it again very soon. I foresee it.
Second album, Max. You got. I'm back with you, brother.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Angelina Singer, author of the Upper World series, and you're listening to Citywide Blackout, the best podcast for independent artists.
Picture this. You finished your first book and nailed it. The plot, the characters, all the twists and turns. This one's a winner, and all you need is the right cover. If you've got my art skills, this is the part where panic usually sets in. Enter the cover villain, hero to writers everywhere. Founded by noted author Remy Flagg, Cover Villain focuses on composite image covers for science fiction and fantasy writers. Give them the details, and they'll craft a cover using popular trends that everyone will want to see. But wait, you say, I've got ideas of my own. No problem, as Cover Villain loves a good collaboration. As they say, our goal is to put a little villain in every cover we make. Want to know more? Then head to covervillain.com and follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
And that will do it for this episode. Big thanks to Jeff for joining me, and don't forget to follow the show on Facebook under Citywide Blackout, and Twitter and Instagram under Citywide Max. And if you or someone you know wants to be on the show, it's real easy. Just get at me at citywidemax@yahoo.com. And now to close things out, I've got 3 songs from Soundtrack to the Apocalypse. We begin with Now Let's Go Kill Some Motherfucking Zombies, followed by The Sky Is on Fire, and ending with Zombies vs. Aliens. Enjoy, and as always, keep those ears open.